Hi friends, welcome back to another book talk. I am AnnaLee Dragon, the director of the Kinderhook Memorial Library, and I have chosen this week to focus on an initiative that we are doing for the second year in a row called Meatless Mondays. And so this is something you can sign up for on our website if you like to. It is an honor system, so it's not complicated. There's not a lot of checking in or proving anything. Basically, you're agreeing that you and whoever is in your household will attempt to eat meatless one day a week. It doesn't have to be Mondays, but Meatless Mondays sounds pretty good. It's all that alliteration. So the idea being to just consume slightly less meat because of its environmental impact, its health impact. There's a number of reasons for that. And it's been something that doctors and people involved in the health field have been saying for a while, as well as environmental scientists about the carbon footprint of raising meat. And so it's not that we're saying don't eat meat, it's that the suggestion is to just eat less meat. And to eat locally whenever possible, which is great because we are in Columbia County, surrounded by beautiful farms that work really hard to provide excellent fruit and vegetables and all things delicious that fit right into Meatless Monday. So the challenge that we're running this year is going to run from May 15th to June 30th, although you are free to start now or go longer, whatever you like. And if you register on our website, you will get an email that will invite you to come pick up a reusable tote bag that has our logo and also the Climate Smart Task Force of the Village of Kinderhook's logo, because we are partnering with them on this great initiative, as we did last year. And so I wanted to talk about some books that discuss both vegetarianism, veganism, and Flexitarianism, which you may not know about, and so which fits perfectly with Meatless Monday. And some of the books we have here that you can read about these things, and also recipe books that you can use if you want to try this challenge this year and you're not really sure what to cook. So I'm going to put up a book cover and then we will talk about the book. And at the end, I will put up all of the covers again so you can see them. I will also put with this post a link to the registration page if you choose to sign up for Meatless Monday. We would love you to join us. It's going to be a fun challenge to take on, and let's get started. So you just saw the first cover of the book that I'm going to discuss, which is Michael Pollan's Food Rules. You may know the name. He's pretty big in this in the food industry. He wrote The Omnivore's Dilemma, and he's written some others. This one is called Food Rules: An Eater's Manual. And so they call it a definitive compendium of food wisdom. And so he's very much about simplicity in eating, so it doesn't need to be that complicated. And he sort of espouses the exact viewpoint that we're talking about with Meatless Monday, which is that you don't necessarily have to not eat meat, but you should treat it as an extra in your meals, and so not include it all the time. Like, it's a special thing that you eat occasionally instead of eating regularly, and that he just believes firmly in the idea that you should eat more plants and whole foods. And so this book, Food Rules, is about 10 or 11 years old. It's not brand new, but it's really nice because it's broken into really short little segments that have topics like avoid food products containing ingredients that no ordinary human would keep in the pantry. And then, and there's a little blurb then about what that means, but it's pretty easy and you could sit down and read it in pieces. You don't have to read the whole thing at once, which I think is great. And a lot of these rules, it doesn't have to be new because these things have been true. So it's probably a lot of things you already know if you're like me and just have not completely committed to yet, but I think it's a great place to start with all of this discussion. Okay, next book. So the next topic I wanted to discuss, or the next title, is Forks Over Knives: The Plant-Based Way to Health, which was written by Drs. Campbell and Celestin. So you saw the cover there, but here it is. So this one, actually, there's a documentary about it too that I watched. And I will say the most persuasive argument for veganism that I have heard. I am not a vegan yet, but it made all really interesting cases and gave me a lot of information I did not have about both health impacts and environmental impacts of meat eating. And it was just really persuasive. It had a lot of good case studies, and it's written by doctors, which, that doesn't always necessarily guarantee that the information is the best. But I do think that this is, if you're interested in the idea of becoming a vegetarian or a vegan, this is an excellent place to start. I took some notes here, so I'm just going to look at them. They make a health argument for vegetarianism, whole foods, plant-based diets. There is the movie if you'd like to check out. They also have cookbooks that have come out under the heading of Forks Over Knives. So if you've watched the film or read the book and are just looking for more recipe ideas, they have those as well. So this book particularly has recipes, but also talks a lot about what the movement is and why you would want to cut down dairy and meat. So this is a veganism. This isn't just vegetarianism, which a lot of people have found health benefits from. So if you're curious about that, what it means, what it entails, and why people would do it, this is a great place to start. It is a little more extreme. So if you're signing up for Meatless Mondays and this is a new thing for you, I have some other stuff that's going to speak to you even more so. But you might want to check this out anyway. It was really interesting, and both the book and the film are available in the library catalog. Okay, we'll get on to our next book. I thought before we delve into flexitarianism, we would talk about some vegetarian cookbooks. So we had Forks Over Knives, which has some vegan recipes. And then I have this wonderful one in our collection that I pulled out that you just saw the cover of, The Vegetable Butcher. So it says how to select, prep, slice, dice, and masterfully cook vegetables from artichokes to zucchini. And it's by Cara Mangini. It has more than 150 recipes and 250 step-by-step photographs, which I love in a cookbook. I want to know what it's supposed to look like so I know how good or bad a job I am doing, depending. So it says it's a root to leaf guide to vegetable butchery, and has step-by-step instructions, tasty recipes, and it demystifies a cornucopia of vegetables, because sometimes when we're cooking with new ingredients, like maybe vegetables we've never used before, it can be overwhelming and confusing. You're not really sure how to prepare these things, what they're supposed to taste like, what things they might pair well with for a recipe. So this book would be excellent if you're just starting out using some of these vegetables that you're less familiar with. This might be a great place to go. So Cara, the author, comes from a family of traditional butchers, and she was one of the first vegetable butchers at AnnaLee in New York City, which is a big restaurant. So she's now the owner and executive chef and of her own restaurant. And the book is beautiful. You can see the gorgeous photos of the vegetarian recipes that she has put in here. And there are just a lot of, this is a whole breakdown of different kinds of mushrooms. So just like I said, if there's maybe when you're starting out and you're looking at these recipe books, if there's some things you're not familiar with, this would be a great resource. Okay, so now we're going to talk about flexitarianism. So this title, Modern Flexitarianism, Plant-Inspired Recipes You Can Flex and Add Fish, Meat, or Dairy. So this is a little more middle of the road for those of us who maybe are just starting out or who just don't choose to give up meat or dairy. I wanted to give a brief overview. So flexitarianism is it's a diet, a type of diet like a vegetarian diet or a vegan diet, that is a style of eating that encourages mostly plant-based foods while occasionally adding meat and other animal products in moderation to your own diet. So it's kind of a lot of people use it as an intermediate step on their way to vegetarianism, but it's also a fine place to just stay at. So if you just consume less meat, which is the point of Meatless Mondays, then this is the sort of diet you'd be embracing, and it's supposed to be great for your health, and it's also better for our environment while not being a completely drastic departure from the way that you've probably been eating much of your life, like many of us. So this first book is one of the DK Learning series, and it has more than 100 easy vegetarian recipes. So they start from the base of vegetarian, and then they show you how you can flex it to add in meat and animal products, dairy products, things like that. So you can change them up. You start with a vegetarian, which is great too, because occasionally you can make a vegetarian dish. And then if you have people in your family that don't want to eat the vegetarian versions, you can add in proteins, animal proteins and things to them so that it becomes a meal that's a little more flexible for everybody, which I think is a great thing. Because I know when you have families, children, parents involved, they don't always all want to get on board with whatever you're trying to do and who wants to make two different meals. So this kind of gives you a little flexibility in that. So they say that this book is for everyone from meat lovers to vegans. And it has tips to get you started, nutritional and dietary advice, and sample weekly menus. So I thought this was a great kind of introduction to flexitarianism. It's a newer book. It is in our catalog. You will be able to borrow it from us, place a hold for it, and hopefully it gives you some new ideas. I'm excited because I get bored with the things that I cook over and over. So I'm excited to try some new things. I have a few more books like this coming up before we're done for the day. As you saw there, mostly plants, 101 delicious flexitarian recipes from the Pollan family. So this is a callback to the very first book we discussed, Food Rules, today, was written by Michael Pollan. This is his family's kind of cookbook. So he wrote, as I mentioned, The Omnivore's Dilemma, and his most famous phrase is, eat food, not too much, mostly plants. So that's kind of what this cookbook is based around, the notion of. So it's not giving up meat entirely, but it's building a diet that shifts the ratio of animals to plants. So you want to eat more plants than animals. And so this has great ideas in it, recipes, like he said, 101 recipes for you to try out. And if you are maybe just a Michael Pollan fan, this might be a great book for you to check out now too. And it's how his family eats. And so I think that's great because, like I said, a family dynamic can change things as opposed to if you are a single person who can make changes in your own diet pretty easily. When you're working with a group of people and you're cooking for a group of people, it can be difficult because everybody has different tastes. So I think the fact that this comes from a family suggests that he's done some of that research of figuring out how to make that balance. And I like that it seems achievable and doable and approachable, which sometimes veganism and vegetarianism do not for people who have regularly eaten meat their whole lives. Like, that sounds hard and unfamiliar. And I think this idea of flexitarianism fits right in there because it gives you the option to try this out without full on committing to no meat anymore. So I have one more book to discuss before we're done for today. As you saw there, our last book of the day is called The Flexitarian Cookbook, Adaptable Recipes for Part-Time Vegetarians and Vegans by Ryland, Peters, and Small. It offers options, as the others did, for incorporating meat or fish as needed or wanted into the recipes. But again, I think they start from a base of vegetarianism. They are plant-centric recipes, is the way they refer to it, which is a great phrase. And they're all about eating less meat for both environmental and ethical reasons, as well as health reasons. So there's a collection of delicious, modern vegetarian recipes that make allowances for you to add in meat and fish as you want to. So again, I think the trick is with Meatless Mondays are a great way to maybe introduce yourself to this idea of flexitarianism or vegetarianism, which can be daunting. But I think it's a great idea too, because it's 6 weeks. So it's not a lifelong challenge that you're taking on, although maybe it will be by the time you get through with it. Maybe you'll really enjoy it and want to continue. It saves a lot of carbon emissions in the planet to just reduce our meat intake. And also, in that same vein, we highly encourage you to check out local farms for your produce and your meat, actually. You know, Samascot sells both. Lots of local farms sell both meat and poultry and vegetables. And so also buying local reduces emissions, which is an important part of this. And we want to support our local economy, our local farmers, and eat the wonderful produce that we grow right here. So if you want to jump in and try, I will include a link for you to register with us, and then you can pick up your free bag. You get a reusable bag, some recipe book, little recipe booklets, some coupons, and a Hannaford gift card as well. And if you register, there is a chance I'm going to do a drawing to give away a $25 gift card to Samascots as well. So just as a little extra incentive for you to take this plunge with us. Well, if you have any questions, we're here to answer them. And all of these books are available in our catalog, so you can check them out and borrow them and let me know what you think. And I look forward to seeing you all sign up for Meatless Mondays, hopefully. I'll talk to you all next week. Thank you.